Hi friends. Today I want to consider the authority of the Bible. All Christians believe that the Bible is the authoritative standard for our faith, both in terms of what we believe and in terms of what and how we practice. We may differ in the details of how we understand that authority and how we interpret the scripture, but in the big picture, we are all united as one people of one book. According to our United Methodist doctrinal standards, we believe that the Holy Scripture contains all things necessary for salvation, so that anything that is not in the Scripture or proved by the Scripture is not required of any person to be believed as an article of faith or to be thought necessary for salvation. We believe that the Bible contains all things necessary for salvation, not that the Bible contains all things that are necessary. For example, the Bible does not contain medical or psychological diagnoses. It doesn't teach physics or mathematics. It doesn't give blueprints for a political system, unless you count the theocracy of the people of Israel before the judges and the kings, and that didn't work out so well for them. But you get the point. The Bible does not address every possible issue. It doesn't contain all things necessary. But the Bible does contain all things necessary for salvation. In terms of recognizing and receiving God's love in Jesus, in terms of living a life of faithful obedience and service, in terms of spending eternity in the full and glorious presence of God, the Bible contains all that we need to know. The Bible is sufficient for our knowledge of salvation. We call this the sufficiency of Scripture. And related to the concept of the sufficiency of Scripture are the concepts of the inerrancy and the infallibility of Scripture. Those three concepts have been reinterpreted so many times by so many different branches of Christianity that often they seem to mean the same thing. Well, without getting too deep into the weeds, let me make a couple of distinctions. Classically speaking, biblical inerrancy says that the Bible doesn't contain anything that is contrary to fact. For example, all the place names, all the genealogies, all the ages of the people, even the 969 years of Methuselah, are factual. United Methodists do not hold the doctrine of the inerrancy of Scripture in this sense. Again, classically speaking, biblical infallibility says that what the Bible teaches on matters of faith and practice is entirely useful and true. It is the belief that the Bible is completely trustworthy as a guide to salvation and the life of faith, and it will not fail to accomplish its purpose. In this sense, United Methodists do believe in biblical infallibility. Because biblical inerrancy and infallibility are used often synonymously and not defined very clearly, United Methodists prefer the term the sufficiency of Scripture to refer to the Bible's authority on all things necessary for the life of faith and for eternal salvation. When I see you tomorrow, we'll think about different lenses through which we understand and interpret the Scriptures. Thanks for listening today. I'll see you tomorrow.